Yes, we are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining during this holiday season. This is, as we like to say in Serbia, Aleks Paunić, or in US, Aleks Paunić. And we welcome back Mr. Sem Busić. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Alex. Nice to see you.
And nice to see everybody. Well, we cannot see you guys, but we know there was a lot of demand for this presentation. So again, thanks for carving up some time on Tuesday afternoon. Before we start, again, what are we doing here? This is a series of presentations and events that are geared towards helping you extend your footprint, your business footprint, help you with sales in North America, US in particular. I was looking at my notes, and I believe this is like maybe 11th or 12th presentation that we've done so far. Last one being in October. Most of these presentations I've done, actually all of them, I've done in a studio in Belgrade. Today, bear with us. We're actually doing this online. I'm in New York, and actually we kind of changed the positions and locations. I'm in New York, and Sam is actually traveling in Serbia. But nonetheless, we are not in a started studio. And that's why we want to thank USAID, Digital Serbia Initiative, and awesome people from starting to giving us a chance and giving you guys a chance to learn how you can sell in the United States. Again, this is a holiday season, and we have a very particular topic where we want to talk about how do you sell in US during the holidays, and how can you use the holidays to actually set up sales strategies for 23. But again, thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and let's jump into it. As you guys know, all these presentations usually start with a quote. And since we're going to be talking about holidays, there is a holiday, even though it's a working holiday, but it's a very significant holiday in the U.S. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Day. It's in February. And one of his quotes, one of my favorite quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King is, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And let's just pause there. And some people are maybe thinking, what does that have to do with sales? Every time we do these presentations, we tell you, provide value for other people, do something for others, and then you're going to see the abundance of sales and interest coming your way. But again, Dr. Martin Luther King Day, we're going to talk about it in a second. It's a little bit of philosophical or spiritual quote, but I actually think it can also help you not just have a quality life, but a great sales career. What are you doing for others? Having said that, I do want to jump into the agenda for today's sales training. If you guys tuned into these presentations before, this is a very familiar format. We're keeping it very simple. Quick housekeeping, this is going to be event for an hour. You're probably going to have some questions. Absolutely encouraging you to give us questions. We will address those right away. And then when we finish the presentations, we will have a special Q&A section. But if you do have a question during the presentation, absolutely ask us. We do want to make it as engaging as possible, and to help you answer and help you craft some strategies during the holiday selling, as this is the theme for today. Again, 3 major topics. We do want to go, number one, what are the holidays in the US? We want to go over the list of those holidays, but we also want to touch on some of the important days. They're not necessarily deemed as holidays. And then what can you do to craft a theme and a marketing message around these holidays? So we're going to potentially come up with some cool ideas for you. But again, the big thing now is selling during the holidays, right? People are asking me, well, Alex, it's holidays. Should I talk to my clients in US? Should I reach out? What should I do during the holidays? Well, there are some best-selling practices that you can do. But again, every holiday is a bit different. Right now, we are in what's called, Christmas or New Year's season. So we want to give you some ideas to actually apply over the next few days, or maybe a first week of the New Year's, that you can strategize and make the most out of the holiday season. And again, that's touching on the third theme. What should be your holiday strategy for 23? Not just for these particular holidays that we have right now. It's like I said, it's a Christmas and New Year's. but start mapping out 23 and figure out what are those interesting holidays that you can leverage and extend your sales and come up with some cool ways to promote your services and your product. Having said that, we always have to start with a bio. I guess this is kind of rude. I'm starting myself. I'll give Sam the baton here in a second. A lot of you guys probably seen this slide before, but I have to do it because we probably, we hope we have some new people on at this event. So I did want to introduce myself. Again, Aleks Paunić in Serbia, Aleks Paunić in US. I was actually born in Novi Sad. I came to the States more than 30 years ago, probably longer than I want to remember. But I came here to US through a tennis scholarship. I was lucky enough that I played well enough tennis game, and I was able to get a scholarship in high school. I went to high school in Texas, and then I went to a college. I got a scholarship in college in Denver, Colorado. But then I got into IT about 20 years ago. And I had a lucky break when I actually entered the cybersecurity space about 20 years ago. This is where, attacks start getting more serious. And there was a lot of security startups coming about in early 2000s. I was lucky to get into one of them. It was called MX Logic. This is also the time when the SaaS was becoming a thing. A lot of companies like to buy SaaS products at that time because it's an easy solution to absorb, cloud solution, out of box. I worked for one of those security companies. They got acquired later by McAfee, and then Intel acquired McAfee. So I started a little bit of American corporate dream. Started with a small company that had maybe 100, 150 employees, but we got acquired by global cybersecurity giant McAfee, and then Intel, which was a Fortune 10 company, 10 biggest company in the world, acquired McAfee. And I was always working on the sales side, to be more precise, on the channel sales. I was managing partners, everything from small partners from Idaho and Arizona to big national Fortune 100 partners like Tech Data, which is the biggest IT distributor in the world. I opened together with my co-founder from McAfee, David O'Berry. Shout out to David. We started Precog Security. We are doing a penetration testing, ethical hacking, compliance readiness. Lately, we've been helping a lot of startups with compliance, especially when they are trying to onboard large Fortune 500 clients. As you guys know, if you have a big client, security is going to be a very important thing. Yes, you have to build a great product, but you also have to pay attention to security. Just a little, what we call shameless plug-in here for our services at Precog. But other things that I'm very proud of, I never lost the beat what's going on in the Serbian tech scene. I actually managed the Florida or Miami chapter for Serbian entrepreneurs. So you guys heard the Serbian entrepreneurs, very powerful, very influential group where we are helping Serbian startups, Serbian tech companies expand, especially in US and North America. I didn't stop there. Together with Sam and a group of people, we are doing the business development and finding not just leads, but also helping them do the operational excellence in US, onboard US clients. And together with Sam is going to touch on it too, we co-founded Tech Mules, right? So any company that's looking from Serbia, from Europe to expand in US and North America, we are helping them not just with sales and business development, but also with operational excellence. So I'm going to pause there and give Sam a chance to do his own bio. Sam?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And it's great to be on here again. I think the last time we were together with this group, it was in Belgrade during the summertime. So happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas. We'll touch on that later. But again, who is Sem Busić? I think I ask myself this question all the time as well. Born and raised in the States, more recently moved to Arizona just over 9 years ago. So very experienced in the software and tech industry. I've been selling to companies all over the States. Basically, when I first started with Blue Fox Group, I'm currently the director of wireless solutions at Mobility. It's a large enterprise company. So very similar to Alex's background, selling to the Fortune 100 companies as well as startups. I always like the comment in here, the avid Novak Djokovic fan. Alex, as you know, I think we told the story the last time. That's how we connected at the match at the U.S. Open. And, we over time, have grown, and we co-founded Tech Mules. It's been an awesome start. We work with some awesome companies in Europe, and really look forward to answering some questions and following your path here, Alex.
Absolutely. And I think we have to apologize to the audience. We do owe him a photo from the U.S. Open. It's a true story. We met during Novak Djokovic U.S. Open final, and we came to a conclusion. Yes, we were sad that Novak was not able to beat Medvedev at that time and complete the Grand Slam. But me and Sam said, let's make the most out of it. So we decided to form a business partnership. And, if you ever get a chance to talk to Novak, we're going to tell him, like, we feel terrible that, you lost. We were really sad, but thanks for putting us together during that final. And then we also owe potentially photos from the last SERBFest. I wanted to stress that Sam is a massive fixture in the Serbian community in Phoenix, Arizona, and beyond. He actually organizes, supervises, chairs SERBFest in Phoenix, Arizona. This was my second one just a month ago that I attended. If you're ever in Phoenix, in Arizona, around September or November, please reach out to Sam. And he is doing an amazing thing to keep the Serbian tradition and Serbian American tradition alive and well. Okay, so let's get into those holidays in the United States. A lot of you guys are already doing business in U.S., so hopefully you're not saying like, this is, of course I know these things. But trust me, even if you're American, if you're born on U.S. American soil, it's not a bad idea to revisit these, because we're going to talk about the holidays, but we're also going to talk about some important dates, right? And if you're following any American companies online, especially on LinkedIn, social media, you're going to see that all of them, or most of them, if not all of them, are doing some kind of recognition around these holidays. At the very least, right? At the very best, they're figuring out marketing teams around these holidays, right? I know with the Serbian culture, sometimes, I was born there, and, when I was, starting to grow up in America, I was sometimes thinking like, wow, this could be a little bit tacky or cheesy, but it's marketing, it's sales, right? So we do encourage you guys to take a note of these. One big thing I'm going to tell you about these dates is maybe you noticed that some of the holidays fall on an exact date. For example, in the Independence Day, it's always going to be July 4th of July, right? July 4th. Doesn't matter if it's a Sunday, doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday or if it's Wednesday. If it's a 4th of July, it's a national holiday, obviously huge American holiday, Independence Day, getting independence from Britain. But some of the holidays, like Labor Day or Thanksgiving Day, they're going to fall on a certain day in the certain week of the month. I'll give you an example. Labor Day, that's first Monday of September. So I've seen Labor Days fall on September 6th. I've seen Labor Days fall on September 2nd. But if it's a first Monday in September, this is a Labor Day, and it's a non-working day. And it also signifies the end of the summer. But for example, you could have a U.S. client, and you're trying to reach out to them, and it's Monday, and you're like, they said this is important, but why are they not answering the phone? Oh, it's Monday, first Monday of September. It's a Labor Day, right? So something like in Serbia, they call this praznik rada. That's May 1st. This is kind of Labor Day in U.S. In U.S., they're not going to celebrate May 1st. They just don't have that holiday. But that's the alignment and something similar. It's a Labor Day. Another one is, for example, Thanksgiving. You guys noticed it's happening at the end of November, but it's always a different date because it's the last Thursday of November. So keep a note of those. These are national holidays, and I mentioned Martin Luther King Day. Some of these most of these holidays are non-working holidays, but for example, Martin Luther King Day, it's a working day, but you will definitely see people observe it. You will definitely see a lot of teams around the MLK Day, and some people, take a day off. So this is very easy to find. You can take a screenshot right now, but if you go online and you see a list of U.S. holidays for 23, it's going to be very easy to find online. Now, Other important dates, and Sam, I'm going to include you definitely here. I want to make sure that you chime in with your experience, but important dates are, just like I said, they're very important dates. I would definitely take a note of these. Why? Because first of all, they're being observed by your U.S. clients and U.S. partners, but they're also an amazing chance for you guys to figure out with your marketing teams if you can do some kind of marketing message around those, right? What do we have coming up, right? February, it's a African American History Month, right? But also in February, we do have a Valentine's Day. I would say this is probably one of the biggest non-national holidays. Everybody is doing something around that day. People talk about it a lot. But in the last, well, actually, ever since I was in IT, I would see companies in IT doing very interesting and clever marketing messages around the Valentine's Day. I've seen SaaS companies say something like, fall with your SaaS product again, or, you know, IT services company, get romanticized by your IT services, or QA company. This is a very interesting holiday. And yeah, you can think outside the box, but you could potentially map it out and figure out some of the messages that can be aligned with that important date. I'm not going to go over the whole list, but I also going to mention a couple other ones that are very important. I would say Mother's Day is a huge important day. It's not a holiday. People are working, but people definitely do something around the Mother's Day. So I would give you equivalent in Serbia, right? So there's March 8th, right? International Women's Day. This is where moms and girlfriends and grandmothers, they get a lot of flowers. The one that's similar is the Mother's Day. This is where the grandmothers, moms, they get greeting cards, they get flowers. So this is a very important holiday in US. There's a Father's Day too, but I would say Mother's Day is even more important. What does that mean? You could be talking to your client prior to the Mother's Day, and or potential client or partner, it's absolutely okay to ask them, hey, what are you doing Mother's Day? Anything special? They will be really happy to share that with you. Or after the Mother's Day, you can ask, have you had a good time, you know, during the Mother's Day? Did you do something fun? People are very eager to ask those experiences. So let me ask Sam, you know, first of all, Sam, keep me in line, keep me honest here, you know, when it comes to Valentine's Day or any other important days, and Mike, how do you see it? What kind of advice we could give to our audience?
Well, I think you hit it right on. I think a great idea is to use these holidays as marketing tools and just another touch point to that customer or that prospect that you wanted to reach out to. So, you know, even taking the time, maybe as a reminder, 5 minutes before you send that email or make that call, just Googling St. Patrick's Day or Passover, just taking 5 minutes before you actually, you know, initiate that word on the call, just to really, again, remember what it stands for. So great marketing opportunities, as well as another great opportunity for a touch point to your prospect or your customer.
Yeah, St. Patrick's is also an interesting one because everything is green. People are dressing in green. You know, you can dress your IT service or your brand or logo into green. I think Google is probably, because a lot of people use Google search, they're doing a pretty good job when you go to their, you know, search engine. I don't want to advertise them, but I think they're doing a good job to dress those and brand those letters, you know, with the theme, with those important dates. Okay, so I skipped one slide. I'm going to go back. So matching holidays with themes and messaging. So this is, again, extension what we were just talking about. And we cannot go over the full list of holidays, what is the theme and what is the message, but we just want to give you some ideas. Again, there's going to be a call to action towards the end, at the end of this presentation, where we will ask you to maybe start thinking about some of these holidays and maybe come up with some cool marketing ideas. But here are some interesting ideas that you can do. For example, New Year's, you know, this is your typical, this is the same in Serbia, like you get fireworks, you get snow, you got Happy New Year. Martin Luther King Day, you know, a lot of people like to do Martin Luther King quotes. You can find a lot of them. We showed you one. It's okay to say something like Happy MLK Day, you know, to finish your email message. Independence Day, you're going to see a lot of US flags. You're going to see a lot of fireworks, right? Happy Independence Day. I think to Sam's point, it's important to kind of spend just a minute or two, like, hey, is this appropriate way to greet? Is this appropriate way to say? Because I just recently, for example, received a message for somebody from Serbia say Happy Christmas, right? It is Merry Christmas and it's a Happy New Year, right? Those little things, you know, just a little research can give you a lot of clout and show you that you're aligning with some of the U.S. customs, right? So we do have Christmas now, right? It's a red, green teams, and Santa Claus. You know, I'm gonna entertain you guys, and I'm gonna put my Santa Claus hat. Sam, don't laugh. You know, I know you're laughing already, but you know, you can do that, and you know, you have a Happy New Year coming, so you can do your 23, right? So people are like, what is this guy doing? But that's what you got to do. You got to step outside the box a little bit and entertain your clients. Now, selling during holidays, what can you do? I got to fix my hair here for a second. Best selling practices through holidays. This is why you guys came in. You're like, okay, this is all great. We like your Santa hat, Alex, but what we should do now? Well, number one thing is, when you're planning for 23, you got to understand your prospect goals, right? You want to kind of, everything is aligning with your prospect goals and their plans. But figure out what are some of those creative teams that you can align with certain holidays and with a certain, important dates. Again, we're going to talk about call to action. You cannot hit every holiday, but if I would be you, you got to figure out, okay, have I done anything in the past? If you haven't done anything in the past like that, maybe figure out 3 to 4, 5 top holidays, that you want to, okay, we want to create some kind of marketing team for our US clients, right? We do have a LinkedIn campaign, or we do have a social media campaign. On the right side, actually, here's a good example. This is a live example, something that I received just last week, or maybe just a few days ago. It's a TechStrong group, IT technology group from Florida, right? We have a lot of these engineering groups in Serbia. Probably somebody's watching right now who is a very similar group, strong engineering, right? And here's your competitor in Florida, right? Somebody who is also advertising services like, hey, we can build solutions, we can do a QA testing, we can do security testing. This is your competitor from the US. Now, you're matching against these people, right? And yes, I actually believe in Serbian engineering. I think it's very viable and very strong. And I would stack Serbian engineering against any US companies. But your competitor here went a step further, right? So they figured out a Christmas theme, right? So you guys saw a lot of probably American movies around Christmas time. So you have that song, the 12 Days of Christmas. Well, they use that song and they put this in this newsletter, and they actually, change the word with every single line being the value prop that they offer, anything from solution building, security, QA testing. And what they did, to me as a security person, I never click on links. I rarely click on a newsletter. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I actually opened their newsletter. Okay, it's a numbers game. If 10 people are going to open it, 1 or 2 might say, you know what, this is interesting. Actually, they made me laugh, but I do want to see about these services that they offer. Guys, it's a numbers game, right? And you have to use every tool at disposal. You can send gifts to your prospects. You can run holiday giveaways. You can offer discounts. You can do some limited time offers. Typically, these are offered at the end of the year, right? When you say like, hey, if you sign up with us before the end of the year, you can receive this or you can receive that. But nonetheless, we are encouraging you to think outside the box and to align with some of these themes that are coming up. Like I said, there's a Valentine's Day coming up here in, less than 2 months. This would be a great opportunity to do something similar, okay? And then if you're doing,
Alex,
you go ahead.
If it's okay with you, because this is so relevant to your discussion. I think Marco in the chat asked a great question. And
yes.
If we could kind of address that, as I think it fits the timing. I'll take a stab at it first, and then please elaborate on this. Marco asked us, are holidays a good time for approaching new leads, since people might be on vacation and not focus on making decisions around this time of the year? The key word here, I think, Marco, is new leads, right? I'm always skeptical or hesitant to reach out to a new lead during the holiday. Now, this is a new lead, right? So if you had a prospect that you reached out to once, they said, I'm not interested. Absolutely, I would say, hey, follow up during the holidays, during the end of the year, let them know we're still here. But as new leads, I always kind of put them on that funnel for 2023. However, it does depend on your product, right? In the States, if you're selling a actual product, you know, companies in the States are trying to spend money by the end of the year, where, you know, if you're offering a software service, it might be different, right? People are trying to write numbers off by the end of the year. So if you're selling candy, for an example, you know, customers do have money to spend that they need to spend at the end of the year. It just kind of depends on your business. So Alex, can you please maybe elaborate on that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and thanks a lot, Sam, for bringing it up. Let's keep that dynamic where you can bring up these questions. Great question, Marco. And to Sam's point, I want to keep it light, but also set up, and we're going to talk about the 23, right? I think this is a great time to, and we'll talk about some of these messages, but this is a great time to reach out to your potential prospects, you know, with a happy holiday message, but then set things up, go heavier with the value prop in 23. Maybe a few words regarding your value, but say, hey, you know, happy holiday, Sam. You know, it's Alex, you know, with the pre-cog security, you know, we have a great offer when it comes to service and testing. But listen, right now, have a great time with your family. Let's follow up in 23, right? I think people would appreciate a little lighter message, heavier on, you know, understanding it's a holiday season, heavier on happy holidays, but then just touch on, this is what we're going to talk about in 23. So when you follow up in 23, you have something to latch on, right? You can piggyback on that initial message. Okay. Now, what are those holiday sales channels? Sam, you know, you're doing a great job. We talked about this to some of our potential clients, partners. You know, you're sending gift cards, but you know, we do want to tell you know, our audience what are some of those appropriate sales channels, right? Social media, that's a given, right? Everybody's using social media. Get those messages out there. Newsletters, I showed you one. You know, 12 days of DevOps. You know what I clicked. But Sam, what are some of the other appropriate channels that you see that are, you know, kind of okay to use in a corporate role for partners, right? What would you suggest to our audience?
You know, I think the biggest ones are gift cards and greeting cards. I think sometimes just a greeting card with a simple note on it goes a longer way than just sending a basket of something, right? Because I remember my time working in a corporate office, there'd be, you know, 20 boxes sometimes just sitting on the counter. And, you know, you may overlook a company in the gift. So the idea of setting something with an invitation for them to maybe spend some money on Amazon or another channel, I think it's a reminder, oh yeah, this gift card was sent from Precog, rather than just sending over a box of nuts. So I love the idea of greeting cards in these types of situations.
Right. And, you know, again, I'm big on Valentine's Day because it's coming up and I'm hoping somebody's going to take a note. But I think there's a notion, and I had that same notion. Valentine's Day, it's only for romance between two people. You can actually show appreciation, you know, during for that holiday. Hey, we love being your client. We love, you know, providing service. Do you see that as a relevant holiday to show the appreciation, because we already obviously passed Christmas? Sam.
Agree. I think it's a great opportunity to resell. It's a touch point. It's a gentle touch point is what I use.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, so here's some don'ts, right? We're going to do do's and don'ts. We're going to start with don'ts. What you should not do. I would say, number one, do not ignore the U.S. holidays when selling to the U.S. clients. If you are saying like, I really need to expand to the U.S., we want U.S. clients, and you're like, well, holidays, they're really, I mean, I didn't take a note, you know, is that really that important? Yes, it is, you know. Definitely take a note, start mapping out those holidays, start understanding them, you know, don't ignore them. don't be too pushy. Sam just mentioned, we just talked about that. Don't be too pushy around holidays, but that doesn't mean that you should not acknowledge them, right? But don't be too salesy. Don't be too pushy. Use them to set up your next message that's going to come after the holidays, right? Don't send too many emails. People are taking vacations. People are taking what we call in US PTO. Maybe you send an email and you see something like, I'm on PTO. That means personal time off. You know, people are not as responsive. People like to spend time with families. People like to spend time with friends. People like to take vacations in US. So don't be too pushy, but it's okay to send that email. Hey, hoping you're having a great holiday. Gonna follow up, you know, after the New Year's, you know, enjoy the time. Something like that. Again, heavy on the holidays, you know, a little bit lighter on your sales message. And again, don't be insensitive. You know, US is a big company. We have 330 million people of all walks of life, all ethnicities. You know, you got to pay attention. Maybe your client, maybe your prospect is of the Jewish ethnicity, right? We had as an important day Hanukkah, right? You want to wish them a happy Hanukkah. You're not going to wish them a Merry Christmas. Those little things or those big things definitely matter. Take a note of those, you know, use your emotional intelligence and then proceed. Do's. So we got that S a little bit off there, off kilter, but definitely do's. You want to plan ahead, right? You want to start mapping out those holidays. You want to figure out where you can build a message, where you can build a campaign. And, you know, if we already have a Christmas beyond, we have a New Year's coming up here in a few days. You can definitely do some messaging here in the next few days. We're going to hopefully answer some of these questions. But, you know, if you want to run some kind of reward, some kind of limited time offer, let's say for next year, Christmas, you want to start 2, 3, 4 months ahead. You do want to, again, understand those holiday dates and seasons, right? I would definitely look at the calendar and I would start, you know, marking those off. And then you're going to have a chance now to re-engage with some of your potential clients. Please, you know, make sure that you say, hey, you know, we hope that you had a great holiday with your family and friends. You know, we would like to set up a call. Please acknowledge that, right? We mentioned that for not just this holiday we have right now, Christmas and the New Year's, but there is all other important dates. Mark those. You can ask us, hey, is this an important one to acknowledge? But there's a lot of these that you should be definitely cognizant of. I mentioned Mother's Day. If you're following up after the Mother's Day, especially with a female client or partner, you know, you should be cognizant of that. They probably had Mother's Day, and it's a good way to build the relationship and rapport. And then, you know, empathize with your customers and listen. You know, they might tell you like, listen, I don't celebrate holidays. Or they might tell you, oh, we have an amazing, huge holiday coming up. You know, we have family in town. Take notes of that. Build the human relationships, right? That's always the number one thing. You have to listen.
Aleks, there's 2 great questions in the chat. I think the first one will fit you really well. And then how about you take a stab at the first question and I'll do the second one. Do you want to read it out loud to the group?
Yeah, can you bring it up?
Yeah. NNT021. Sorry, there's not a name. The question is, I'll read it out loud. Yeah, are annual budgets in bigger companies in America for the next year set at the end of the previous year, before Christmas or the holidays? In Serbia, this is often the case. So with your experience working with these Fortune 100 companies, I think you're a great person to answer this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I was actually going to touch it on the next section. Yes, budgets are pretty much set right now, guys, especially with the big companies. That does not mean that some of the, some of the things that you're proposing cannot be accepted, cannot be bought, especially when we look at the operational expense versus a capital expenditure, right? If you're trying to sell a massive piece of enterprise software, which is a capital expenditure, at this point, it's going to be tough, and you will probably get some kind of answer. Well, budgets are set, but if it's an operational expense, you know, they do have a discretionary budget that they can spend every quarter. So there's still a chance to do that. But to answer that question, great question, Mr. or Mrs. NNT021. 99% of the time, Fortune 500 companies, the budgets are set way ahead. I would say they're starting to get set anywhere around, November, October timeframe. Also keep in mind, some of the companies, they run fiscal years a little bit different. I've seen companies, Fortune 100 companies, not a lot, but some. You can ask them, how do you run your fiscal year? Sometimes the fiscal year ends in December, a lot of time, most of the time. But sometimes I've seen the fiscal year ends October 31st, right? Weird, but it does happen. So it's okay to ask, it's not too of a confidential question. When do you end your fiscal year? And based on that, start planning at least 3 months ahead and start setting up those calls. Like I would set up a call to, if you have a product and if you're concerned about the budget and if you feel that it's more of a capital expenditure, I would start those, setting up those calls in September for October, so you can work through every single stakeholder and it can be allocated, that budget can be allocated before the season starts, before November 1st. Great question.
And then one more, real quick, while we're on the topic. I think the next one was from Maria. It's another great question. Are Americans usually understanding about our holidays, or would it be perceived negatively if asked to take a day off around Orthodox Christmas, for example, when working for foreign clients? I think this is a great question, and I often ask for this day off. Since I was a little kid, growing up in the States, we always took this day off for school. I always remember it was one of my favorite holidays, not only to celebrate, but it also gives you that warm feeling with the customer. If they ask you the reason or the customer, it's a great opportunity to ask them to share your background. So I would say no problem at all.
Absolutely. I love this question. I was actually, I'm happy that this was addressed, and everybody listening, to Sam's point, be proud of your heritage. It's a great way to tell a story about yourself. You do want to, obviously, people are not going to be very keen on a big historical or religious lesson, but you do want to touch on, yes, in Serbia, Christmas, Serbian Christmas Orthodox is Christmas Eve is on the January 6th, and January 7th is the Christmas Day. And then kind of listen. People are going to give you cues. They will tell you something in America. Oh my God, that's amazing. I didn't even know. What do you guys do for that? This is similar to... This gives you a chance. Yes, absolutely. Follow the emotional intelligence and tell them more about it. Absolutely be proud of heritage. Tell your story often, and look for the cues. Maybe person is not going to be that eager to get more information beyond that you just tell them the date. But in US, if you're some of the people in the audience, maybe that's Maria, they're maybe working for the US companies. Absolutely, US is going to encourage you to take time off during your religious or personal holidays. This is encouraged, and this is something that everybody does. So to Sam's point, he took some days off when he worked for a company. I did it too, and I would explain what is it for, and that's pretty much it. So great question. Okay. Moving on to the holiday strategy. I think we already touched on a bunch of these, but I do want to kind of spend a little time here. Like I said, we do have, 5 days before the New Year's. We do have today and then 3 very open and active days where you guys can start thinking about your social media message. If you didn't have one that came across on LinkedIn, on your social media with your clients, you do want to figure out what is your message that's going into the 23. You're going to see when you're following U.S. companies that everybody's going to do some form of summarizing the 22, right? Picking up on industry trends in 22, setting up that notion, setting up the strategy for the 23. I think this is a great chance for you guys maybe to ask some questions, but also even more importantly after the call to think, oh, we didn't have any of those messages. Sure, you should at the very least wish your clients, a happy 23, your partners, right? You should have some kind of message like that. But if you want to go a step further, you should touch on a little bit about summary. Hey, company ABC in Novi Sad in Serbia, we had a great 22, maybe highlight a few of the achievements, nothing too heavy, nothing too detailed, but then set the tone for 23. That's even more important. In 23, we are planning to, introduce a new product, new feature, open a new market, hire more people. Have something that you can get people excited about. You can put it in a newsletter. You can put it on social media. But then this is a great chance in the next few days to potentially craft that message. Again, highlight your 22 and, but more importantly, set the tone for 23. And if you guys are, keeping the things confidential, at the very least, you should talk about some of the industry trends, whether it's in AI, machine learning, whether it's in outsourcing, security. We're planning to push something out here shortly. But I think talking about the industry trends before and after is going to help you wish the Happy New Year in a great technical tone, but also set the message for the 23 and give you a chance to follow up on that. So let me pause there. And Sam, what do you feel like, when it comes to these end of the year messages, what do you see is working? What kind of advice we can give to the audience?
I think it's just having fun with it too. I think also making it personal. Sometimes I would even joke, saying 23 in the past, 23 is my favorite number. I feel in 2023, you're finally going to respond to me. I'm more of a cold call side of things. But I think sometimes even to your point is taking it even a step further, is just having fun with it. And just really using this time to get a laugh out of somebody or stand out. So all of it works from the summary. I think it's a great opportunity. And then just like I said, have fun with it.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. So we're getting closer to that call to action. Again, marketable holidays in 23. We are stepping into 23. We just have Christmas behind us. We do have New Year's coming. But we are definitely encouraging you to download the list of the U.S. holidays. If you didn't take a screenshot, again, it's a Google search away. Figure out those calendars, understand the theme and messaging, right? And then in advance, you want to identify those holidays that you're comfortable with and targeting the U.S. clients. Having said that, let's talk about that call to action where we can actually help you guys out. Pick 4 to 5 holidays that you will actively market. I mentioned the Valentine's Day. You definitely should have a message around the next New Year's or next Christmas, but potentially Independence Day. Figure out what are those that you feel comfortable doing a marketing message for. If you want to go beyond 4 and 5, you're more than welcome, right? You do have other important dates that we mentioned. So you do want to create potentially a sales campaign draft or some kind of call to action. Everybody's business here is different. Some people are selling services, some people are selling products, some people are selling SaaS solutions, some people are selling enterprise solutions. But you should, put your marketing team, when you're sitting down and like, okay, we want to go after the US market, we want to go after the US clients, you should leverage some of these holidays and put some kind of creative sales campaign and marketing team for those. And then if you guys have some questions, you can contact Tech Mules, right? We do have that service readily available for the companies that are looking to expand. We'll take your call at no cost, and do a free consultation. And let's see if we can maybe give you guys some great advice for these. So having said that, I wanted to see, first of all, Sam, would you add anything else to the call to action?
Not at all. I think you said that well. Pick 4 to 5 holidays. That's that channel in you. That's that working with those large companies for many years. That's a great idea. It's just picking 4 or 5 rather than trying to do every one. I think that's a great strategy right there.
And it's like maybe 1 a quarter, right? Maybe that would be a good one. And you guys can find us. Every time we do this, we do meet some new friends. We do meet some new partners. And you guys can find us very easily on LinkedIn, Aleks Paunić and Sem Busić. You can send us an email, office@techmules.com. I'm pretty active on Instagram. You guys can follow me there. But wanted to see, before we hand it over to Starter Team, if there are any other questions coming from our audience.
And again, I just want to thank everybody, Aleks too, for joining this call today. I know it's, as we wrap up the year, it's 20 some people on this call took the time to listen to us. So again, very humbled and very thankful again that people spend some time and would love to hear about how the success translate in 2023. It could be the littlest thing. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to put my hat on again, sorry for the promotion of the 23, but I'm going to wish everybody a happy new year, happy holidays. Serbian Christmas is coming up too. And I do want to thank the Starry team for doing an incredible job for putting these things together. This is the last event, the last presentation of the 22. We hope we're going to have a lot of these in 23. Guys, don't mind my glasses, but again, I wish you successful, healthy 23. And these glasses are made of gold, so hopefully you have a golden 23. Starry team, you can close the bridge right now. And everybody else, if you have any questions, you know where to reach us. And you're also going to be able to look at this presentation on the YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Godina.